Someone sent me this video, Mortal Kombat is getting woke, MK11 breakdown. I could actually talk about this a little bit, because I enjoy the Mortal Kombat games. I have MK11, I like playing them, I like the story modes, I like unlocking costumes for the characters and customizing, I like doing the crypt stuff. The only issue is I'm not very good at it. I can't play online. I get my ass kicked every single match. I am not good at Mortal Kombat, but I can speak to, like, the lore a little bit, I guess, and, like, you know, the characters.
Start this video off by saying that I am not in any way, shape, or form outraged about the stuff that I'm about to discuss. I just really love Mortal Kombat, and this is just some interesting changes that they've made to the franchise.
This is from April 28th, 2019, so this must be about, you know, when the original Mortal Kombat 11 came out, before the DLC and stuff.
And especially to, like, the progressives that might stumble upon this, I want to assure you, especially when I'm discussing the costumes for the females, it's all good. I'm in no way, shape, or form a misogynist. I love women.
Supreme victory!
MK11 just came out recently, and I've been enjoying it quite thoroughly, except for the fact that I feel like something's wrong with my game because Chronica in the story was absolutely obliterating me. Like, I was seeing people, I was watching their playthroughs, and I was thinking, okay,
she's the final boss. She's the final boss. It's supposed to be difficult.
She was just standing around getting her ass kicked. But for some reason, in my playthrough, if you make one mistake, she will absolutely destroy you. And
are you playing at a higher difficulty? You might be playing at a higher difficulty than the other people were.
Not just be unrelenting like a very hard AI with rubber band. Like, seriously, I had more trouble with her than I did fighting Dark Eater Madeir in DS3. Just to give you some type of context, because, you know, people always...
She is like a, yeah, she's like the god of time in the Mortal Kombat universe, and at the end of the game, Liu Kang takes her crown and becomes like the new god of time to reforge the Mortal Kombat universe. Basically, they're rebooting it again, it seems like.
Tell you to get good, but it's like I can whoop DS3, and I was having some trouble with that, so I was kind of
You want to talk about fucking cheat bosses? Can we talk about, like, what the heck is his name? Khan. Oh shoot, why can I not think of his name? Shao Kahn. Shao Kahn and his stupid, spammy, giant warhammer. Oh my god, I can't deal with that in, like, the last game or the game before that, whichever one he was the final boss in. That was a nightmare.
Actually, my head. But I digress. Is Mortal Kombat becoming woke? That is the question that a lot of people are asking.
It's a game about ripping people's spines out. What?
I would say overwhelmingly the answer would be no, because for the most part it's still the same beloved Mortal Kombat that we all know and love. There's been a few tweaks here and there, especially when it comes to the gameplay, the fighting styles, and I think it's for the better, actually. I actually really like the fluidity, and I think there's a lot of additions that are really cool, and I appreciate very much so. But there's little tidbits here and there that makes it obvious that there is some, you know, progressive people in NetherRealm Studios. They're just
There are progressive people in all sorts of media because the kind of people that go into the arts tend to be people with empathy and creativity. No shit.
sprinkling their political ideals on it just a little bit. You know, nothing that's extremely jarring or enough for you to want to, like, throw the game away, but there is some stuff in there that just kind of makes you either laugh because it's so silly or just roll your eyes because you're like, come on, man, please keep your politics out of my video games. So
oh, he said the thing! He said the thing! Keep your politics out of my video games. Remember, there are two genders, men and political.
First thing I noticed is woke Jax, and I actually discovered this on my own because the first people that I beat the stories with was Scorpion, of course, because he's just the shit by default, and then Sonya Blade, which I really like Sonya, and I think I'm actually gonna main her, regardless of Ronda Rousey's horrible voice acting.
Cut this shit! You'll kill us whether we fight or not!
And then I beat with Jax because he's another one of my favorite characters, because, I mean, just, come on, like, just look at him. Look at who doesn't want metal arms like that? And for the few of you that don't know, MK11 is completely infused with time travel. It's actually been for the past 3 games, and it's reached a fever pitch in this game. And so a lot of people's endings are all gonna have with, like, different timelines and stuff like that. And this is what Jax had to say in his.
My family and I have lived the American dream. But most people who look like me haven't had that chance. I owe it to them to put things right. And I'm not waiting centuries for people to get woke when I've got the power to speed things up.
The dialogue is incredibly cringy.
Why would that not make sense? No offense, dude, but like, if you went back in time and you had the power to change history, would you not want to change things for the better? Would you not want to, like, stop mass genocide and enslavement? That seems like a reasonable thing to do, especially if you're from a disadvantaged group that has been enslaved in the past. Like, seems like that would make sense in terms of a time travel ending, right?
Using the word woke just pisses me off. I never liked it. I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
He's literally like, I'm not waiting for people to get woke. I'm gonna go change history. What? You understand what he means. You're just mad that a word that exists. People know what that means. You know what it means. So it's a word that has a use. I'm not seeing where you're getting a disconnect here, friend.
But I will say, I'm not, like, mad at the fact that, oh, somebody would want to end slavery. Like,
it seems like you are, because you bring it up. So, what the fuck's the point? You used the word woke in this video earlier. So, are you just mad the word woke exists? M the Ambassador 19 with 100 bits. Context is for cucks. True.
Like, I get it. I get that. I'm going to take this opportunity to do something like this. When you think about it, like, how many people, if they had the opportunity, they would go back and
kill Hitler?
So I'm not mad at the choice that they made for him. It's just the wokeness thing. Especially for Jax, like, and how old he is. There's no way in hell he would ever use that type of language. That is...
I don't see why that would... People know what the word woke means. It's, like, proliferated throughout the culture. People know what woke means, dumb fuck.
Reserved for young black people for the most part. You know, obviously there's a lot of young white people that, you know, very, very far left leaning that want to be woke. You know, they want to appease like everyone that's a minority and stuff. But
imagine legit thinking like, yeah, ending slavery, good. But he said the word woke, so it's not okay anymore. What?
But people that are going to be around 50 or anywhere around that are not the ones saying woke, man. Just like they're not saying lit or any other stupid lingo that's going.
He has a kid. He has a kid who he interacts with regularly, Jackie Briggs. He probably picked it up from her. It also doesn't matter because it's a video game. It's not even the canon. Excuse me. It's not even the canon ending. That's the ending you get if you do just the typical MK Tower with Jax. Like, what? What a weird thing to get triggered over.
Going around. Now, this next little thing I stumbled upon on Twitter, and I'm so happy I found it. Essentially, what they're trying to do is associate Trump with Shao Kahn. Believe it or not. So one cool thing that fighting games do is that they'll have a little bit of back and forth banter when you're about to face off against somebody, especially if they know each other. It gets even more personal and it's really cool. So the thing that happens with Shao Kahn and the Collector's a new person that I just think is a complete waste of space. I am not fond of the Collector at all. You know, maybe you guys like him, but I think he's trash. So when they meet up, this is one of the exchanges that they have.
For 25 years, you've remained loyal.
You are the one true Khan.
Let us make Outworld great again.
It's on the nose, but it's a little funny. For those of you who don't know, basically within this time period, Kotal Khan has become the leader of... I don't know if anyone gives a fuck about MK lore, but there are all these different worlds, right? And Outworld is one of the realms. Shao Kahn is traditionally the Khan, the leader of Outworld, and he rules it with an iron fist. It's like where Baraka and a bunch of other people are from. but Kotal Khan has become the leader. So with time travel shenanigans, Shao Kahn shows up in this future where he's no longer the leader, and he wants to take back his throne from Kotal Khan. Okay. So that's why he's saying, make Outworld great again, so he can be back on the throne. It's a joke.
Outworld great again. I love it. It's one of those things that absolutely backfires. Obviously, yeah, in the world, Shao Kahn is just evil and maniacal and stuff, and then they want to associate that with Trump. I understand what they're trying to do, but see, it's such a stupid thing to do because Shao Kahn is one of the coolest characters in the Mortal Kombat universe.
Okay, but he's fucking evil. You can think his, like, as a fighter, he's cool. Fine. I don't particularly find him interesting because he's just basically big, shirtless, angry dictator with a hammer. It's not that interesting to me. But to say he's like one of the coolest characters is fucking bizarre. He's like a fascistic leader of a realm. What? Like, Scorpion and Sub-Zero are cool. Like, they have interesting backstories. Both Sub-Zeros do. And one of them becomes Noob Saibot. That's interesting. And the interactions between, like, Scorpion and Sub-Zero, those are cool. Even, like, Johnny Cage is cool in a corny way. To say Shao Kahn is cool is weird to me. I find him to be, like, the most boring out of all the characters. He's just evil, but whatever.
Like, he's one of my absolute favorite characters. I paid $100 for this motherfucker because he's that much of a pimp.
Hey, I buy dumb plastic shit too, but that didn't look like it was worth $100, no offense.
And now you want to associate that extremely badass character with Trump? Not a good look if you're not a fan of him. Because the people that are fans of him, they absolutely love that.
Little loser Liu Kang, you sound like a turkey when you do your fighting moves. Low energy.
You're just making the same joke. It's still funny, right? It's funny to see evil dictator fascist Shao Kahn using the same rhetoric as Donald Trump. That's the joke. It's funny. It's why you're doing this bit. Jesus.
Shao Kahn 2020.
So there was quite a few people complaining about this next bit of wokeness. I saw some YouTube videos, I saw a lot of, reactions on Twitter and in forums and whatnot, and I quite frankly didn't really care, especially because when it came to MKX, I really liked the direction that the women were looking in. I liked their costumes and
I've never liked how some of the women look in the MK games, because it comes off as pandering when they're dressed like this. Like, if you like it, it's fine. It's up to you. I don't really care. But at the end of the day, it's basically wank material. They don't look like warriors. They look like pinup models that teenage boys jerk off to. I find, like, this version of Melina to be more reasonable than this version, right? At least here she's wearing some sort of, like, leather breastplate. Obviously, she has tons of weak points, and it wouldn't make sense to wear this in actual combat still. But this is gratuitous. This is like what an 11-year-old thinks is sexy. Jesus.
Designs, because in MK9, a lot of them were kind of carbon copies. They all had these nice big thighs, these abs of steel, and then massive titties. They were so insanely big.
Yeah. Yep.
And don't get me wrong, yeah, that shit's hot.
Oh, that's hot.
But I don't need all of the women to look like that. I mean, that's
certainly for people like, oh gosh, why am I blanking on her name? Johnny Cage's ex-wife. Whatever her name is. It makes sense for her to be in more military gear because she's like a special ops military person. Sonya Blade. Thank you. But, like, even the Outworld people who might be wearing more, like, flowing robes and stuff, why would they be wearing, like, titty clothes? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. And not that things need to make sense in a fighting game, but, like, it doesn't make me think this is a consistent world with characters. It makes me think they made this for children to jerk off to.
It's just a little silly. So I pretty much forgot that people were even complaining about all that stuff, and then when I started playing the game, I really started to notice, I'm like, oh yeah, a lot of women are covered up, not just like...
Okay, for one thing, Devora, I want to say her name is, something like that. She's naked here. She's not covered up. She's a insect. This is just her exoskeleton. She's completely naked here. She just happens to have a fucking exoskeleton. Scarlet looks like this, which makes sense. That's reasonable. And then we have Jade in this outfit, which looks like an actual outfit as opposed to wank material. I think they look better like this. If you want to have classic costumes as, like, unlockables, I don't care. That's fine. I like having classic costumes for the, all the characters. But, like, to have more designs that make more sense in the world that they've built, it makes sense.
Oh, desexualized, like, they have extra clothing on that, like, they're almost all the way covered up. I wasn't mad or anything, but it did make me curious. It made me think, well, how come they're covering them up so much more when they already did a great job in MKX?
Hey, when will we get a skin for Johnny Cage in a thong? Just banana hammock Johnny Cage, okay? We want gender neutrality here, friendo. You want Jade in a bikini? I want Johnny Cage hanging dong.
I think that they're perfectly fine in MKX. So there's got to be some sort of reason for this.
Get woke.
Steve Barron, NetherRealm's art director, had this to say on the subject. Our character lead, Brendan George, has been a breath of fresh air of just introducing new ideas. Our design is just getting more mature and respectful. You're not going to wear a bikini to a fight. You're just not going to be showing so much skin. I think it's just what the game is about. You're going to be in the fight for your life, and you're just not going to be wearing so much scantily clad items.
And I agree, it comes off as more mature. There's this thing where some people seem to think being overtly sexual is, like, mature or adult, but it's the same thing as, like, just using swear words as a punchline, or, like, haha, the children's movie made a butt joke. Like, that doesn't make it adult, right? That's in some ways even more childish. The mature way to go about designing a universe, if you want to have one, and it seems that the studio that makes the MK games, NetherRealm, it seems like they put a lot of work into their story modes in the canon of the series. They have some of the best story modes out of any fighting game out there. I really enjoy them. They're trying to get you to take it seriously and take these characters seriously. They have all sorts of comic book series, not only for this, but like for stuff like Injustice. And if they want that to be the case, they need to be more than wank material for 12-year-olds. Gimpig with 100 bits. Boobies would be more useful in a fight than that psychic martial arts, kind of like a confusion spell.
To me, that doesn't really make sense because in MKX, they were already not scantily clad. Like, the women weren't super sexualized anymore, and I didn't see anybody complain about this whatsoever. It just seems like there was more of a push in MK11 to fully clothe them, infinitely more than
Women fully clothed in my video games? The horror!
the men, and that was the thing that kind of got weird to me. I'm like, oh, what was the reasoning behind this? Because if you look at the men, and if you look at some of their alternative costumes, for example, like Baraka, or you just look at Kotal Khan or something, they are infinitely more sexy than the women. And so we have the first Mortal Kombat game where the men are sexier than the women.
Okay. And you've had like 15 Mortal Kombat games with sexified women and covered up men. Would the opposite not be fair play? Just something to think about.
I mean, Jesus Christ, look at Kotal Khan in his chest, man. Those are some fantastic pecs. Like, I'm envious. I'm not gay, but sometimes I wish I were.
I mean, you can suck a dick if you want, dude. Do you?
So my point is they already desexualized the women in MKX and no one really had a problem with it at all. So what is the reason for clothing them even more? Like, some of the designs that I'm seeing, they're kind of like, it's not about them, oh, they need to show more skin or not, but it's almost like, well, that doesn't even look very appealing at all. Like, say, I'm looking at Jackie, who I actually really like her character, and Cassie, and I'm like, I feel like their characters...
They're wearing armor. They're in the military. They're wearing, like, tech armor.
look like those armors in Mass Effect back in the day.
Yeah, that's sort of the aesthetic they're going for the paramilitary, like, organization that they work for. See how they are even, like, the same colors? It's because they're made probably by the same facility. I forget the name of the military organization they work for, but, like, they're going for an aesthetic. You don't have to like it, but it is consistent.
You know, the first one where they just weren't that good, they were still figuring shit out. But one thing I want to point out is not every woman in that game is fully covered from head to toe. Even though it's not a big deal, it is a little bit concerning because, you know, this era of wokeness and ultra progressivism, trying to be progressive at all costs, sometimes it turns...
At all costs! We put more clothing on the women in the video games. At what cost, though? I'll have to go online and take 5 seconds to look up Rule 34 to see these characters naked. My goodness. We've become woke, but at what cost?
Into regression. Like, it almost seems like to a certain point, like they're covering up so much, it's almost like, whoa, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to please Middle Easterns? Are you trying to abide by Sharia law or something like that? Because in my opinion, the way that I think feminism works is women are supposed to be liberated and they can wear whatever the hell they want, and they can...
Okay, these are fictional characters. They're fictional characters. They don't have a will. They can't decide what they want to wear. That's up to the character designer.
Be sexy, and especially in a video game where it's just fantasy, where like this dude's kind of talking about, oh, wanting to be a little bit more realistic and not be scantily clad in the fight of your life. So I'm like, the type of moves that these people do, like almost every move will kill them. Like every special move would kill somebody immediately. I think it's totally fine to have some sexy stuff like they've had in the past. You know, like I said, like I showed you, that men...
I'm pretty sure you can get, like, costumes and stuff in the crypt, because there's tons of, like, cosmetic options. I think there are classic costumes for MK. Let's see. Classic costumes MK11. Do 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 do.
You're why I've been humming that.
So here we have some classic ninja costumes. Here we have some classic Jade and Melina costumes. Do 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 do. I think these are for MK10. Here we have oh, I'm forgetting Sonya again in sort of a cutoff. There's classic Sonya. So you can get all sorts of different, like, options for them. Spawns in the game now via DLC. MK11. Got George Michael on the mind tonight? I don't know, it's just stuck in my head. Ruinfar says, like, I'm all for sexuality and all, though I would guess this guy probably isn't, which is what I find funny as well. But also sometimes just good to expand your character's clothing style, yeah. It is because of Careless Whiskers, yes. They added RoboCop to MK11. I haven't gotten this expansion yet, but I will at some point. Maybe when it's on sale, because I think RoboCop v Terminator will be fun, because Terminator's another one of the DLC characters. Anyway, my point is there are all sorts of costumes. Look, here's like a titty witch costume for one of them. So costumes for them do exist that make them scantily clad or in more suggestive clothing, if that's what you would like. So...
have some pretty good looking stuff, you know, where they're showing a lot of skin, so I don't see why the women can't. Like, if we're gonna do it like a level playing field and say women are equal, they can do whatever the hell they want. Like, I think there should be some variety.
Does Spawn have a sexy outfit? There's an outfit with him with no skin. Does that count as sexy?
But hey, if you don't want to put that in your game, that's totally fine. I just think
is it fine? Because you made a 13-minute video about how you don't like it. So, it seems like you don't think it's fine.
I think it's a little bit weird to just adhere to this, like, oh, we're being more mature, therefore women have to be more clothed. I think it's kind of the wrong direction to head in my opinion, of course.
Okay, USA.
So out of all the ones I just talked about, this is the only one that actually does bother me. Every single one of you know what the okay hand gesture means. It just means things are a-okay, everything's cool. And then when you put it in this direction, you know, and you put it below the belt, you try to get somebody to look at it as a game, and if they do, you get to hit them. It was first introduced, to my understanding, in Malcolm in the Middle, and I remember it quite vividly because it became so popular, everyone in my middle school was playing it. I can't believe I'm explaining this again. 4chan trolls a lot of people into thinking...
Okay. Oh god, are we gonna go on this again? The okay hand symbol, like a lot of things, is also a thing that has been used by white supremacists as a code. 4chan then says, hey, take this thing and troll people with it, that way that they have plausible deniability when you actually say, hey, this is a Nazi symbol. It doesn't mean everyone using the OK sign is a Nazi, because it doesn't, but it is a thing that gets used by white supremacists on occasion. They use things that are innocuous and can be seen as innocuous, that way when you call them out on it, they go, see, we trolled you. You think everyone's a Nazi. It's intentional. It's intentionally using things that can be seen as innocuous.
That the okay hand gesture is a symbol for white supremacy, like it's like a W and a P or something like that. A lot of people took the bait. They took it so much that now it's gotten out of control. You're getting the okay hand gesture banned from certain games, and that's exactly what happened to Johnny Cage. So Johnny Cage used to do the circle game. And then some people notice he doesn't do the okay hand symbol anymore. Now he flips you off.
Okay.
So somebody on Twitter asked the senior user interface artist of NetherRealm Studios, Dani Syed, I don't know if I said your name right, sorry, whatever. But somebody asked him, like, hey, what's the deal? And he replied, Nazis. Nazis.
Yes. Yep. Nazis fuck a lot of things up, don't they? It's a shame.
This okay hand symbol being spooky and scary is getting out of control. We already saw Blizzard freak out about it.
그럼 저희가 이제 조합 같은 거나 새로운 전략을
And I absolutely was not expecting NetherRealm to freak out about it. That's just weird. When you have this game that is just so brutal and violent and that's just done all these crazy things, it's like, oh, it's too... okay hand gesture is too extreme, bro.
Yeah, it's been used by white supremacists, so you don't want to use it.
So replace it with a...
White supremacists ruin a lot of things. What a shame.
middle finger, which is universally known to be offensive.
Because it's okay for someone to say, fuck you. That's in line with Johnny Cage's character. It wouldn't be in line for him to be doing a Nazi dog whistle.
So there you have it. Overall, Mortal Kombat is still Mortal Kombat, and it's still very fun. I enjoy it quite a bit. There's a lot of people that are mad about the woke stuff. For the most part, I don't give a shit, except for...
You made a 13.5-minute video about it. You clearly care.
The okay hand gesture, obviously. And there are some problems that they have apolitical in the game that they're patching. But that's pretty much the standard with games now. It's all about just throwing shit out there and we'll fix it later. You know, I hate that, but doesn't look like it's gonna change anytime soon. But what do you guys think about this situation? Has any of this stuff like annoyed you enough to not play it? Have you played it? What do you think about the game? Let's discuss this. I'm actually really curious to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section below.
Well, this guy sucks.